Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review. Today, I'll be talking about Counterparts, Canadian power trio Rush's 15th studio album. Before we get into the video, please be sure to subscribe. We're getting so close to 100, and I hope we can get there very soon, so please be sure to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Getting into the background of this album before analyzing each of the songs, as I said before, this is Rush's 15th studio album, coming out in 1993. The previous album to this was Roll the Bones, which came out in 1991 with marginal success. I consider Roll the Bones and even Presto before it to be the transitional period, kind of between their 80s stuff and their hard rock era in like the 90s through the early 2000s. Counterparts is where I think they really begin, where the hard rock era really starts and is in its full force. If you couldn't tell from the way I'm describing it, I love this album. It is one of my favorite Rush albums. I would say, I honestly, almost in my top 3. I love Counterparts. As just some general overarching statements to this album, so I don't keep repeating myself, the amazing lyrics and theming are just as prevalent as ever in this album. Neil does an absolutely amazing job, as long with some help from Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. Absolutely love the theming and the lyrics. Getting into the songs themselves, Geddy Lee's voice in Animate, the first track, is absolutely amazing. It has a full tone reminiscent of some of the earlier stuff in the 70s, like Xanadu off of Farewell to Kings, but he's ripping it in his lower register, which gives it a different feel. It really matches with the darker, heavier tone of this album, and it's absolutely awesome, as well as the rich tone of the bass, accompanied by some amazing, nice guitar riffs. It's a great track. Animate is one of my favorites on this album. Not my absolute favorite. We're getting to my absolute favorite in a second. But Animate is absolutely amazing and really sets the tone for this album. But my favorite track off this album is Stick It Out. There's something about it. The first time I heard it, it just resonated with me because I kind of like that heavier hard rock sound sometimes. And Stick It Out is really the pinnacle of exactly what I want out of a hard rock song. Again, feel that influence of that darker tonality from the kind of grunge era of the 90s, really in full force on this. There's a great bass line that causes tension between the bass, the guitar, and the whole song. I love that tension you can feel. There is a way I could describe it musically, but I don't think there's any need to really analyze each individual bit of it. Just to know that there's that tension between the guitar and bass is really enough. It's absolutely fantastic. Geddy Lee's voice, again, kills it. Track is heavy, but it's really something you can bop to. Anytime I listen to Stick It Out, I find myself just moving in my chair. Absolutely love it. Cut to the Chase, another fantastic track, as all of them are. I love the motifs that are introduced early from the really rich tonal guitar. As always in Rush songs, the guitar and bass really play off each other really well, and that doesn't change with this new hard rock era. It's a little bit different in the way that they play off each other, but it's still just as amazing. I love the new sound of the guitar. I don't know what pedals he's using or what the affectation of it is, but it's really great on this song in particular. This Cut to the Chase really shows how full force they are in their new era of their hard rock Rush, which is some of my favorite of all time. Alien Shore, which is one that I kind of wrote off the first time I listened to this album, but really started to like it as soon as I listened to it earlier this week. I think the drum part is really what carries this track forward. It is kind of a faster beat, which kind of makes it a little bit more energized, a little bit moving forward, contrasting with the kind of more ethereal guitar riff and the deep bass, which is kind of the backbone of it all. Alien Shore, fantastic track, kind of nondescript and kind of just sitting there in the middle of the album, but really a great track. Really great track. Leave That Thing Alone. I think this is amazing. I love instrumental Rush. I love being able to see their musicianship evolve through their careers, especially with this new, darker tonality that this album has with the influence of 90s hard rock. That 90s hard rock really gave them the tools they needed to make something like this. I love the deep, rich bass, killer guitar solos with the moving beat carrying it along. Leave That Thing Alone is a great instrumental. Love instrumental Rush. Love this track, naturally. Cold Fire. This one is interesting because I found this one sounded more similar to Roll the Bones and even Presto than it kind of did. It seemed kind of, not out of place, but kind of different tonal wise. The rest of the tracks of this album, and even a couple of the ones I didn't mention, like Nobody's Hero, which is an amazing song with an amazing story behind it, all of them kind of fit a certain tonal theme. Cold Fire was kind of different. Like I said, it kind of sounded more like earlier Roll the Bones kind of stuff. But it still had a great beat to it, and Neil really kills it on this track, and obviously on this album as a whole. He's a pivotal part. That is the one thing I love about power trios in general, is that since there are only 3 of them, each of them have to be on their top game every single time. Not saying that if you're not in a power trio, you're not giving it your all, but specifically with power trios with 3 people on stage, you really gotta kill it 24/7. And as Rush does, they do all the time. And this album is no different. Freaking love this album. So really, to kind of wrap it all up, this album took what Roll the Bones and somewhat Presto, but mostly Roll the Bones did, improved it and made it better. It really took the hard rock tonality and the hard rock theme and went at it with full force and made it something really perfect. I think this album is one of their best. Geddy Lee's voice is perfect. That is one thing that I will praise of this album consistently and always. His voice is absolutely perfect. The 90s influence and Rush style meld together perfectly. What I love about Rush is how they take what is modern, what's hip, what's cool, and really make it their own. They kind of keep up with the times, but also keep to themselves. I like that of course you want to stay up with the times and still be popular, but they make it their own. Absolutely perfect. This album is amazing. I love Counterparts. And even the album after this, Test for Echo, which kind of makes it a little bit different and evolves on it even more. So thank you for checking out this video. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Let me know what else you want to see me review. Maybe Test for Echo, maybe even Roll the Bones, or something completely different. So thank you for checking this video out. I really appreciate it. Please be sure to subscribe. Getting closer to that 100. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.